It is Wednesday, so welcome to Wellness Wednesday. My name's Amy. I'm a program assistant here at Baggett. We're going to chat today a little bit about our self-talk and how we can maybe be a little nicer to ourselves, why that even matters. Well, the other day, I was walking down some stairs. I didn't have the best shoes on, those platforms, they're a little bit of a killer. And I stepped down, lost my footing a little bit, started to slip, and I just went, well, that was stupid. And I just threw myself down the rest of the stairs because why not? Makes total sense, right? Hopefully you don't believe that story. I did not actually throw myself down the stairs, but figuratively, I have many times. And my guess is so have you in a few different ways. So, there's a lots of ways that we do that we go to the extreme. Maybe it is something to do with, your footing and you have a little mistake and you just kind of flail and fall down. But most of us probably try and catch ourselves. But where that negative self-talk really comes in a lot of times, think about you've been at work and you struggle with a project and you start telling yourself, I'm never going to get this. I'm never going to understand this. Maybe you started a new job. I've had several friends who've done that recently, and that first week just practically brings them to tears, especially if you've left something you were an expert at and now you're coming into something that you're learning completely new. There's that mentality you expect of yourself to be an expert already. And just because you may have seen somebody use a cash register doesn't mean that you're going to know how to use the cash register when it's your turn to check somebody out. And that's just an example. But still, it's funny how we'll think of that. And then we'll go, I'm never going to understand this. Or we call ourselves stupid. We say horrible things. For me, an example, a real one, is many times in my life, I've struggled with food. And, I pull out the Haagen-Dazs thinking I'm going to have a couple spoonfuls, and suddenly the entire thing is gone. And at that point, it's not, okay, well, lighten up, figure it out, you can do this. It's, I'm a failure. I'm never going to succeed. I'm never going to lose this weight. I might as well eat everything in the house, right? And get it out of the house instead of thinking, now it's time to have a salad to make up for that. It's just going to that extreme because I'm negative. And it can apply, maybe you have some health and wellness goals. Maybe you're training for a 5K or a race or doing the Tour de Tucson or something like that. And one day you're out there and you're running and you're doing great and it feels so good. And 3 days later, for some reason, when you're out on your run or out on your bike, it doesn't feel so good. And suddenly the world has ended. You can't do this anymore. Why even bother? I don't know about you, but I went to a Zumba class once. Literally once, because I went in and I didn't know what I was doing, and I couldn't handle that I didn't know what I was doing, and that I felt like I was the only person who didn't know. Forget the fact that these people had been attending for months, and so they knew all the moves, but when they first came, they didn't either. I just assumed, I should, and if I didn't, then, I'm the failure at it, right? So those are the things that we kind of say. Maybe even we don't heed good advice, and we call ourselves dumb. We tell ourselves we'll never succeed. I always give up, so why even bother, right? We speak in these definitive terms. I'm a bad parent. Anybody said that to themselves because of a moment in time? Maybe with our health, it's like we're beating ourselves up. Well, if you would have gone sooner to the doctor, then this wouldn't have happened. So many things. Well, that negative talk to ourselves is not helpful in a lot of ways to our overall health and wellness, right? So there's two things that we need to do when we hear that negative self-talk. Now I've heard a lot of suggestions over the years. One I remember struck me because it was, you put a rubber band around your wrist and you snap it every time you have a negative thought. Well, first of all, some of us would have the reddest wrists ever, right? But two, I thought, why are you doing a negative action to harm yourself to help stop harming yourselves with your words? So don't do that, all right? Just don't. The two things I'm going to suggest are pretty easy, and you can choose one, or you can use both, or you can change them up each time. The first thing you do is you have to stop yourself when you hear that negative talk coming in your head, whatever it is. The first thing you do is say, is this true? Like, really? Are you a bad parent? Do you always quit? Of course not always. Will you always fail? Will you never get it? All those kinds of things. Are you stupid? No. When you go, is this true? You can take that step back and maybe then kind of analyze really what is more of a true statement. Something like, I've struggled, but I've struggled before and made it through. I'm not a bad parent. I had a moment where maybe I could have made a different choice, but what is the choice I can make going forward? How can I change what I did? Again, like if you struggle with food and those kind of health choices, like, you know, this wasn't the best choice. What can I do now moving forward? Not even to make up for it, just what can I do moving forward? And in those exercise goals, realizing, you know, hey, there's things everybody had to learn. What's the truth in that? People had to learn, you had to go. So that's the first one. The first thing you can do is ask, is it true? All those negative thoughts that you're having, are they true? The second thing is, what would you say to a friend going through what you're going through? A friend comes up to you and says that, I'm such a failure. You know, what would you say to them? And let's face it, for most of us, what would we say to an enemy? Because we wouldn't even talk to our enemies. The person we like least in the world, we would not treat how we treat ourselves. We would not say those things. So that second thing is, what would you say to a friend? And most of us would be supportive. So then have that conversation with yourself. You know, hey, I know it's frustrating, and I know you're struggling in this place, but let's look at what you can do different. Or, you're not a failure. You're a wonderful person. Here's all the great things about you. Here's all the times you've succeeded. You know, look at how your bike ride went a few days ago. It was amazing, and that's awesome. So the next one, you know, will probably feel a little better. Just keep trying, keep at it. You know, all those kinds of things. Start having that conversation with yourself. Replace your name with that friend's name. What would you say to that friend? That's what you need to say to yourself. Like, actually be a friend to yourself. What a concept, right? And why does this matter towards our health and wellness? Some people might think, like, well, self-talk, that doesn't really matter. Well, first of all, how many of us have quit something? I said I went to one Zumba class, and I'm not kidding. I bought a video and a Wii game because I'd rather do it at home where no one can see me. But we quit, right? Maybe people have quit jobs because they thought, I'm just never going to get this and I can't. And they gave up and then later kind of kicked themselves. Maybe we feel like doing a treatment we need to do because we waited too long. Why even bother with the treatment that we need to do? I mean, we quit. And things that we could succeed at, maybe we could be phenomenal at, we quit. Or we give up on our health and wellness goals because of one moment. It's happened so many times that I've wanted to give up. And luckily had a great support system to help me get through those moments. But we need to be our own support system, right? So that's one reason. Another reason is we heal faster when we're positive. I mean, that's been proven from all sorts of things. So any kind of illness that you're suffering from, when you keep yourself in a positive mind frame, you tend to heal a little more quickly. And I know there's going to be moments. I'm not saying don't have your moments, okay? But you don't want to wallow in them. It's just better if we can get back into that positive mind frame. And let's face it, another reason it helps is just our overall mental health. If we are in a negative place, it's really hard to succeed at anything. We want to wallow. We want to stay there. We don't want to do anything really good for ourselves. When we're in a negative place, we don't want to take care of us. And so you got to turn it around and get more into that positive self-talk. So I want you to try over, the next couple days, especially start today. If you find yourself having one of those moments where you say something to yourself that it's not helpful at all to you personally, it makes you feel bad, I want you to check that and decide, do I want to ask if it's true? Do I want to go into, would I say this to a friend and change that up? Or maybe you do a little bit of both. The first thing you ask is this truth? And what would I say to a friend? But work on that. And then, again, go back into that, what can I say that's a little more positive to myself? And just see what kind of difference it makes for you. All right? I hope you guys all have a fabulous week, and we will see you again soon. Bye!